Hey guys, welcome back for another video. We got a good one prepared today. What we'll be doing is we'll be doing our best bets for all of our NFL Week 15 matchups. We're going to completely break these games down, but we're going to be focusing on the betting, the money lines, the spreads, the over-unders. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments about these games or anything else, just drop them below and I will respond to every single one of them. Every week we go over every single NFL game. We also do the same thing for every college football game as well. If you're a football fan, if you're a sports fan in general, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can follow along with us. The NFL season is flying by right now. It's actually almost over. We're down to our last couple weeks, so enjoy it while you have it. But let's go ahead and get started running through this game. We already have our Thursday matchup in the books. The Rams won that one. And on Sunday, kicking things off, we're going to have the 5-8 Dallas Cowboys versus the 3-10 Carolina Panthers. This game's going to be at 1 p.m. on Fox. Right now, the Panthers are the favorites versus the Cowboys. That just lets you know the season the Cowboys are having. Right now, they come in here. They are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under here is 43 points, but the Cowboys have a 53.2% chance to win this game. Obviously, they're going to be going Cooper Rush. Dak Prescott's out. The issues with the Cowboys: running the ball, offensive line, defense. Three things that used to be their strength for the last 5 or 6 seasons. Right now, they're at 20.6, throwing for 231, only running for 91.2. The Cowboys used to run for about 120, 130 yards every game. They got to get the rush yards up, and they got to open up the play action. They're giving up 28.2 points a game. That's a bottom 5 defense. This team went from a top 5 defense last season to a bottom 5 right now. But Dowdle is playing better at the running back position, but they need someone other than CeeDee Lamb to step up. Panthers actually might not be the worst team in the NFL this season. That's a step forward for them. Since Bryce Young came back as a starter, he is playing a lot better. Right now, they're averaging 17.9. Throwing for 186, running for 106, giving up 29.8. They actually have the worst defense in the NFL, but they used to be giving up 34.5. They're slowly working that number down because the offense is playing better. Thus, they're letting the defense get off the field, but they still have to cut down. They're giving up 170 rush yards a game. So if there was anyone to be able to run on, Dallas might be able to generate some ground game here because the Panthers have the worst rush defense. They do have Hubbard, though. Hubbard is the legitimate X factor here. Even though everyone knows they're going to run, he's still able to pick up his yardage. I have the Cowboys 23-20. I'm going to go with the plus 2.5. Right now, we are coming in right at 43, but that line will be moving once we get to game time. And then our next matchup on Fox at 1 p.m., the 3-10 New York Jets versus the 3-10 Jacksonville Jaguars. A battle of the teams looking to try to get the 4 wins. Who's going to get there first? Right now, the Jets are the favorites on the road, 3.5-point favorites. The over-under here is 40.5. Jets have a 63.3% chance to win this game. Their offense is playing a lot better as of recently. Rodgers is just shy of 3,000 yards. They are moving the ball. They also have to get that run game going. They're only averaging 19.3, only running for 87 yards a game. They give up 23.1. Obviously, they have a lot of issues. They have roster issues. They have coaching issues. But Breece Hall, get that ground game working. You have Wilson, Lazard, Adams. You don't have a bad wide receiver core. They're not great, but it is a group of veteran wide receivers. And then looking at Jacksonville, obviously Trevor Lawrence is out. They're going to be going with Mac Jones. Mac Jones at least has a lot of reps as a backup quarterback. He can definitely get them the win this game. The Jets are probably due for a win, though. They've been riding a long winning streak. They are playing better on offense, so at some point, they got to get over the line. Right now, Jacksonville, they're averaging 18.3. They got that win that last week. That had to feel good to finally get that off their shoulders. They're only running for 98.9, and right now, Bigsby, they got to get him going. Brian Thomas Jr., they are a very banged-up team, and the Jets at least have a decent defense that they can rely on here on the road. Defense does travel. I'm going to go with the New York Jets to pull this one out. 24-16, I have them covering that spread, and we're just barely going with the under. And then at 1 p.m. on Fox, we have the 8-5 Washington Commanders versus the 5-8 New Orleans Saints. The Saints playing a lot better for probably the last month. They had a good start to the season, and then they fell off the rails. Now they're kind of trajectorying up. However, Derek Carr is banged up. Alvin Kamara is banged up. We don't even know what the starting roster is going to look come Sunday. That's what leads to Washington being 7.5-point favorites. The over here is 43.5, and they have a 54.6% chance to win this game. The Saints do not have a bad roster by any means, but it's getting everyone to play well at the same time. That's been their biggest issue throughout the season. Right now, Washington, we know they have the offense. They can move the ball. They have Jaden Daniels. He can sling it. He can keep the ball on the ground. They can pick up yardage through the air, on the ground. They can control the time of possession. Right now, they're averaging 28.9 points a game. That's top 5 national offense, throwing for 221, running for 157, giving up 22.8. Saints, They're averaging 22.3, giving up 22.5. Very rounded there, but who are we going to see on the field? Kamara, he's missed some practices this week. The entire offense runs through Alvin Kamara, through the air and on the ground. He's the primary weapon any way you want to attack any offense down the field, running the ball. Right now for Washington, they have Brian Robinson Jr., Terry. They have the more weapons. They're going to control this line of scrimmage here. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the Saints. Saints, they probably won't have Derek Carr this Sunday. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that offense to move the ball, get first downs, especially if for some reason Kamara doesn't come into this game at 100%. I have to go with Washington winning this game convincingly, 28-13 covering the spread, but I'm still going to be going with the under. And then the next matchup on Fox at 1 p.m., the 5-8 Cincinnati Bengals. They basically have to win every single game from this point forward to have any shot at potentially making the playoffs versus the 3-10 Tennessee Titans. Tennessee obviously shuffling a lot of pieces. Have to make sure they have a very clean turnover game here. Right now, the Bengals 5-point favorites. The over-under is 46.5, and they have a 63% chance to win this game. One of the best offenses in the NFL. They also have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They give up as many points as they score. But more than likely, Tennessee's not built to get into a shootout with the high-flying Bengals. They're averaging 27.8, throwing for 272, the number one passing team in the NFL. Burrow is having a crazy good statistical season. They're running for 90.3, giving up 27.7. There is opportunities to beat them vertically through the air. Tennessee just doesn't have the weapons to do that. They're only averaging 17.5, giving up 26.3. They don't have a bad defense. They give up a lot of points because their offense turns the ball over on their own side of the field, putting their defense in a bad position. Cincinnati's loaded. Brown, Chase, Higgins, they have the weapons to completely spread the field here. Tennessee's going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to run the ball with Pollard. They have Ridley for those third down situations, but that's a lot of pressure on the quarterback to have to compete with Joe Burrow and this Bengals offense. I have Cincinnati winning this one 27-20, covering the spread, going with the over. And next we have the reigning Super Bowl champs at 1 p.m. on CBS, the 12-1 Kansas City Chiefs, who the football gods love them. They just continue to win no matter what, but never apologize for a win. They're winning these games fair and square. They'll be playing the 3-10 Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is a lot better than that 3-10 record. That is an awful record, but obviously they've had a lot of issues this season, roster-wise, and especially with Deshaun Watson. But we know that Jameis Winston is now the starter. Right now, Kansas City 4-point favorite. The over here is 43 points, and they have a 59.6% chance to win this game. This is a veteran, experienced team. This is a playoff team. As they get closer to the playoffs, that's when they actually start playing their true version of football. They're getting better every week leading up to the playoffs. They're averaging 23.7, throwing for 228, running for 111, giving up 19.4. This is a defensively led team. They get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They generate turnovers. They give their offense the short field. They're only giving up 88 yards on the ground. It's going to be very hard for Cleveland to establish the run in this game at home. Cleveland, they're averaging 17.8. What version of Jameis Winston do we get? 3-touchdown Jameis or 3-pick Jameis? He's going to have guys in his face the entire game. He has to play a clean, composed game, and they are giving up 25.8. They have Ford, they have Judy, but Kansas City, they're starting to get healthy. They're starting to get their veteran playmakers back. Hunt, Pacheco, Kelsey, Worthy. Too many weapons, and they have that defense that they're going to bring on the road. They win this one 23-17. They cover the spread, but I'm going with the under. And this next one is a under-the-radar, really competitive game at 1 p.m. on CBS. The 6-7 Miami Dolphins versus the 8-5 Houston Texans. Right now, Houston, 3-point favorites. The over here is 46.5. And they have a 55.1% chance to win this game. But the way that I see this game is a 50-50, practically a pick 'em. I would not be surprised who wins this game. Miami, much better than their record. A lot of those games, 4 of them, they didn't have Tua. Since Tua's been back, they actually have a top 5 offense right now. But overall, they're averaging 20.3, giving up 22.5. They do have a top 5 rush defense. They're going to try to shut down the Texans' run game, put everything on Stroud. Stroud's not having a bad season, but he's not having the season he had last year. But overall, they're still averaging 23.7. Stroud has 3,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 picks. They're running for 114. They themselves are giving up 22.2. They have Mixon. They have Nico Collins back. Do not underestimate Collins. Yes, they lost Diggs, but Collins, when he's fully healthy, is a top 5 wide receiver. Miami, they just released Beckham, but this offensive roster is loaded. Achin, Mostert, Hill, Waddle, Berrios, they have weapons everywhere. They have a healthy Tua. If this was a sub 40-degree weather game, I'd go Texans. But because it's just a regular weather game, I'm going to go Miami to pull the upset. I have them winning this one 24-21, going with the +3, but slightly going with the under. But like I said, this game could go either way. And our next matchup, this has to be the largest spread I've seen this entire season in the NFL. At 1 p.m. on CBS, the 8-5 Baltimore Ravens just lighting things up on offense versus the 2-11 New York Giants. They might be the worst team in the NFL. Right now, this game started at I think a 12 or 13 point spread. It's up to a 16.5 point spread. Baltimore, massive heavy favorites here. The over is 42.5. They have a 81.5% chance to win this game. This is one of those games, on paper, it should be a beatdown. Lamar Jackson is again putting up MVP caliber numbers, 3,300 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, only 3 picks. He has 3 rushing touchdowns. They're averaging 29.5. That's the top 5 offense in the NFL, throwing for 243, running for 179. That's number 2 in the NFL. Very, very balanced offense, giving up 24.5. Their weakness is they do give up 265 passing yards per game. They have a very bad secondary, but they have a really good defensive line, only giving up 83 yards on the ground. You can throw on them. You can't run on them. I don't think the Giants will be able to do either of those things, so it really doesn't matter. Right now, the Giants, they're down to their 3rd string quarterback. They're averaging 14.9. They might have the worst offense in the NFL, easily one of the bottom 2 by far, and they're giving up 22.5. They don't have a bad defense, but they're on the field the entire game. They have Tracy Jr. Neighbors is a really good wide receiver, but they need to get a quarterback in the draft so that they can feed him the ball. And on the other side, loaded. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry closing in on 1,500 yards. Flowers, Andrews, likely weapons at every position. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. They can spread the ball out here, dominate time of possession. I have them winning this game 28-13. That's still going with the +16.5 and just slightly with the under. It's just a massive spread. I hate these type of games that have massive spreads. Very hard to cover them. But if it can happen, Baltimore can definitely do it. And then our next matchup, we have a good offense versus a really good defense at 4:25 p.m. on Fox. The 7-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are continuing to roll even without Chris Godwin. They continue to move the ball vertically through the air. They did get Mike Evans back. That is a massive deal to have that veteran wide receiver back. They'll be playing the 8-5 LA Chargers, who have the number 1 defense in the NFL. This is a hardball team. They run the ball. They play elite defense. Right now, Chargers 3-point favorites. The over here is 45.5, and they have a 51.6% chance to win this game. Very, very close numbers there. For Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield closing on 3,400 yards, 28 touchdowns, 13 picks. He's number 2 in the NFL in passing touchdowns. They're averaging 27.9. That's the top 7 offense, throwing for 241, running for 138, giving up 23.6 points a game. They have questions on defense, no questions on offense. Irving, Evans, Baker Mayfield, they're going to be able to move the ball, but will they be able to do so under the pressure from the Chargers defense? Herbert, he has 14 touchdowns, only 1 pick right now. They're averaging 21.3. They're only giving up 15.9. Like I mentioned, that's the number 1 statistical overall defense in the NFL. If they have J.K. Dobbins, they have Ladd McConkey. They need to have those guys healthy. They've been banged up the last few weeks. You need to be capable of moving the ball and consistently scoring when you're playing Tampa Bay, because there's always the possibility that this game could be a close, maybe even a higher scoring game. You need to be able to match them blow for blow potentially, but at least they have that really good defense. But I'm going to go with Tampa Bay pulling the upset. I think this game is going to be really close. Could go down to the 4th quarter. Could be a field goal at the very end for either team that decides the outcome. But I have Tampa Bay winning this one 24-21. I'm going with the +3, and I'm coming in right at 45. So I'll be coming in with the under, but I could see that coming down by the time that we get to Sunday. This next game is also a really good one. This is a playoff caliber team. 2 teams that will be going to the playoffs on Fox at 4:25 p.m. The 10-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a Tomlin team, just like a hardball team. They play defense. They run the ball. Every game, whether they win or lose, it's always a 1-possession game, so you know this one's probably going to be close. They'll be playing the 11-2 Philadelphia Eagles, one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They're rolling on both sides of the ball. Right now, the Eagles at home. 5.5 point favorites. The over under here is 43. And they have a 60.2% chance to win this game. A lot of people not giving the Steelers and their defense credit. When you have that type of defense travels on the road. They can pull the upset here. They have Russell Wilson, They're averaging 24.8, only giving up 18.3. Expect a steady dose of Najee Harris. They're going to line up. They're going to try to run it down your throat. Pickens has been banged up. Even when he's on the field, sometimes he makes stupid decisions, but still he's a good wide receiver. It's just you're probably not going to see him play this Sunday. And for the Eagles, they're averaging 26.3, the number one rushing team in the NFL. They're throwing for 181, running for 190.5 yards a game, putting up crazy numbers on the ground. Can the Steelers defense slow down the Eagles run game? It's going to be strength on strength. If they can't, the Eagles are going to dominate the time of possession. When you run the ball, you also keep the turnovers down, and they're also only giving up 18 points a game. Barkley's closing in on 1,700 yards. He might get 2,000 this season. The guy could be the MVP this year. They have Brown, Smith, Hurts to spread the ball out to. Hurts can also scramble. I have the Eagles winning this one at home. 24-20, still a close one possession, going with the plus 5.5, but I'm going to go with the over on this one. And then at 4:25 p.m. on CBS, the 3-10 New England Patriots versus the 6-7 Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals 6-point favorites. The over here is 46 points. The Cardinals have a 69.5% chance to win this game. Big question on this one is which version of the Cardinals show up? They're very flip-floppy, play good, play bad. They're due for a good performance. Thankfully for them, Patriots don't have a bad defense, but they don't have the offense to where they should be able to keep up with the Cardinals' firepower. Right now, the Patriots are averaging 17 points a game, throwing for 172, running for 120, giving up 23.6, which is actually pretty decent considering the fact that their offense does not provide them very much help. And for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray can do a lot of things. He can sling the ball. It's what he can do on the ground, scrambling, but yet keeping his eyes down the field. That's what can make the difference this game. You're averaging 21.8, throwing for 208, running for 140. That's a pretty good. They have a very dominating run game. Can the Patriots slow down the Cardinals' run game? Easier said than done. And they're giving up 22.2, a much improved pass rush over last season. They have Connor, McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. When they have a fully healthy roster, they can move the ball and they can move it on the ground. That's what really matters. Control the time of possession, control the line of scrimmage. I have Arizona winning this one, 27-16, a dominating win, covering the spread, but still going with the under. And then on CBS at 4:25 p.m., the 6-7 Colts versus the 8-5 Denver Broncos. Denver playing much better than the way they started out the season, especially on defense. And Bo Nix has been surprisingly good down the stretch. Right now, they're 4-point favorites. The over here is 44 points. They have a 56.4% chance to win this game. The Colts, Flacco, Richardson, they need to consistently move the ball. They're having issues moving it on the ground. And that's where Denver's going to attack you. They're going to attack you at the line of scrimmage. You have to generate some type of run game to open up that play action down the field. They're averaging 20.5, throwing for 193, running for 119. Richardson runs the ball a lot. If you can bottle him up, keep him in the pocket, obviously you force him into third and long situations. He's not an accurate passer. Flacco is the complete opposite. He can't run the ball, but he can push the ball down the field. But would someone like that have time? Right now they're giving up 22.9. Jonathan Taylor, when he's healthy, he can be the X factor, catching the ball out the backfield, running the ball, but he needs the quarterback to help him out. And they have Pearson for Denver. Bo Nix having a really good rookie season so far. Actually, one of the better rookies in the NFL. They're averaging 23.5, throwing for 209, running for 111, only giving up 18 points a game. That's where everything lies. Denver has the defense. They're going to get after it. They're going to make it difficult for the Colts offense. They're going to have to overcome a lot of pressure here. Pressure could potentially lead to turnovers. They have Williams, Sutton. I have Denver getting the win here at home, winning 27-20, covering the spread, going with the over. And next is the game of the weekend, one of the best games of the year on CBS at 4:25 p.m. The 10-3 Buffalo Bills. They finally lost one, but who wants to play them right now? They are still so hot. Playing the 12-11 Detroit Lions. No one's hotter than the Lions. The Lions are probably easily the best team in the NFL right now in Week 15. They're 2.5-point favorites. Over here is 54.5. They have a 56.6% chance to win this game, but this is one of those games, it could go either way. Whoever has the ball last in the fourth quarter is probably going to go down the field, win this game. Right now, the Bills, Josh Allen putting up crazy MVP numbers, averaging 30.5 points a game. The number 2 offense in the NFL, throwing for 229, running for 126, only giving up 20.6 points a game. Josh Allen, he has a lot of touchdowns. Right now, he has 33 total touchdowns, 23 passing, 10 rushing touchdowns. Cook, Shakir, Coleman, Cooper, weapons up and down the wide receiver core with the veteran wide receivers now. And for Detroit, Jared Goff picking up right where he left off last season. This guy's slinging the ball right now, closing on 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks. They have the number one overall offense, averaging 32.1, throwing for 244, running for 115, and they have the defense to back it up. This is the most rounded team on both sides of the ball in the NFL. They only give up 18, and the running back room is so deep. Gibbs, Montgomery, and they have St. Brown to stretch the field. Too many weapons are at home. They win this one, 34-31. They cover the spread. We're going with the over, but like I said, if the Bills get the ball last with a minute 30, they're probably going to go down the field and win it. It's going to come down to who has the ball last. And then another really good game we have coming up, the final Sunday night game, third to last game at 8:20 p.m. on NBC. The 9-4 Green Bay Packers, they have the defense. They have a very solid offense playing the 8-5 Seattle Seahawks. Started out the season hot, then got cold. Now they're back to the upswing. Right now the Packers are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under here is 46 points. Probably going to be some points here. And Green Bay has a 62.6% chance to win this game. Jordan Love just has to play a clean game. The guy missed 3 to 4 games, and still he's closing in on 2,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, 11 picks. They're averaging 26.8. That's a top 10 offense, throwing for 232, running for 145, very balanced, giving up 21.1. That's a top 10 defense. They have Jacobs closing in on 1,100 yards. They have Reed. We just need a clean game out of Love if this game is a close one-possession game. And for Seattle, one of the highest passing teams in the NFL, but Geno Smith, man, 14 touchdowns, 12 picks. That's practically 50-50. You have to play cleaner football, especially when you're playing the Packers. They will capitalize on your turnovers. They will turn turnovers into points. Seattle's averaging 23.2, throwing for 249, giving up 21.8. When they have a healthy offense, Walker, Smith, DK Metcalf, but they need everyone healthy. But more importantly, they need Geno Smith. Keep the turnovers down. I have Green Bay scoring just enough to win this one, winning 28-21, covering the spread, going with the over. And now we're moving on to our Monday games at 8 p.m. on ABC. The 4-9 Chicago Bears. Since they lost to Hail Mary, this team's just completely fallen off the rails. The offensive line's playing better. Caleb Williams isn't holding the ball too long right now, but you have to continue to do that versus the Vikings defense. That's a tall ask right there. They'll be playing the 11-2 Minnesota Vikings. Vikings 7-point favorites. The over in here is 44 points. Vikings heavy favorites. 65.3% chance to win this game. Like I said, the O-line has to hold up. Caleb Williams, if you feel the pressure, get rid of the ball, or this is going to be a 4 to 5 sack game. Right now, the Bears are averaging 19.5. They're giving up 21.4. They have Swift, Moore, Odunze, Allen. They have the veteran weapons at wide receiver. Caleb, just throw the ball up to them. Let them try to make a play for it. And for the Vikings, Sam Darnold having a great season. Comeback player of the year this season. They're averaging 26.3. Throwing for 238, running for 113, and they have the defense to match it, giving up 18.5. Jones Sr., Justin Jefferson, probably the number one wide receiver in the NFL. Don't underestimate that here. If this game is close, you can always throw it up to him. Bears, you're going to have to play your best game to beat the Vikings. I have Minnesota win this one, 27-18, covering the spread, going with the over. And our final game of Week 15 on ESPN at 8:30, the 6-7 Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins, what are you doing, man? You have so many weapons. Don't force things. Take what the defense gives you versus the 2-11 Raiders. If you're kind of reeling like the Falcons are on offense, who better to play than the Raiders, who are basically toothless? I'm not trying to be mean to them, but they might be the worst team in the NFL right now. They are one of the worst. They have a bad offense. They have a bad defense. Right now, the Falcons loaded on the offensive side. They're averaging 21.4, throwing for 250, running for 121, giving up 25.6. The defense has to play better, but you also can't put the defense in bad positions if you are the offense. Looking at the roster, you see no reason why they should not be able to score a lot of points. Cousins, Robinson, Algiers, Mooney, London, Pitts, weapons up and down the field. No reason to force things. Take whatever the Raiders give you. The Raiders are going to give you a lot. Just sit back there and take it. The Raiders have been shuffling quarterbacks. That's why they are 3.5-point underdogs here. The over-under is 44.5. Falcons 58% chance to win this game. The Raiders are averaging 18.2, throwing for 224, only running for 79 yards a game. The worst rush offense in the NFL. It's going to take some pressure off the Falcons offense. There's no reason to feel that you need to score every single possession. And they have a bottom 5 defense, a bottom 3 defense, giving up 27.8 points a game. They're shuffling quarterbacks. Minshew, O'Connell, at least they have Brock Bowers. Is a great weapon on the edges, but he can't do everything. He needs someone who can get him the ball and not throw interceptions simultaneously at the same time. I have the Falcons getting the offense right, doing enough to win this game, pulling this one out 24-18. I have them covering the spread, but we're going to go with the under. So that's our best bets. That's the bets for every single NFL game we have for Week 15. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.